Okay, so we're still in our book of Olam Midot. We're in the chapter of what's called overcoming our fears. Our sages teach, he says, and this is a very famous line, Eze gibor hakovesh et yitzro sheneemar tov erech apayim megibor umoshel berucho meloched ir. He says, who is strong? He who conquers his evil inclination, as is stated in Mishlei, he who is slow to anger is better than a strong man, and the master of his passions is better than the conqueror of cities. And this is one of the most fundamental things that we have as human beings to really get a control hold on. I know a lot of us in this room have an issue with this anger thing, yeah. And this anger thing, unfortunately, can damage a lot of things, especially relationship with the father and children, because we think that we're in control of everything, and unfortunately, we're not. HaShem is in control of everything, and He gives us certain tests where He wants us to be able to withhold ourselves. Nowhere does it say that we have to, scream at our child, parent, mother, wife, this, that, even employees. It's illegal according to all the Torah subjects. And then nobody, just because you're able to scream, it doesn't mean you are able to do that. You hear? So you're putting a stumbling block in front of the person who you're screaming at, and it could be major conflict between the two people. So he says, who's the strong one? Not one who conquers cities, not one who could master. It's the one who could master his emotions, and therefore when he gets angry, he can calm himself down, at least for a certain period of time. It says what the world considers strength is the ability to dominate others. And the more domination and power a person achieves, the stronger he is, correct? Who's the strongest? Right now everybody's, Trump. Why? Because he, with the control that he has, with the power that he has, the United States is a powerhouse, all the other countries are afraid. Why? Because he has, more control over them. But these so-called strong people often have no control over their own selves. Such people are like animals who follow their desires blindly, with no ability to rein in them. What does an animal do? If he sees something, he just devours it, correct? There's no emotional control at all. An animal doesn't have any emotional control. That's why you have sometimes nice, tame animals. What do? They bite their owner. That killer whale, remember? What a beautiful killer whale. He ate the whatchamacall. He ate the trainer. It was a nice, for years it was a great, she knew him from when he was young. What happened? He's an animal. He lost control and he ate her. You hear? In contrast, our sages have taught us the meaning of true strength, having control over ourselves and doing what is proper and good in the service of our Creator, rather than being dominated by the evil inclination. Behind every action that we have, meaning every anger, every jealousy, every glutinous action, is the evil inclination, because that's exactly what he wants. He wants us to fall. He wants us to argue with our wife. He wants us to argue with our sons, with our daughters, with our parents, with our partners, with our friends. Why? Because he loves machloket. It says the Gemara in Yoma teaches that initially Moshe praised Hashem with the words Ha'el, Hagadol, Hagibor, Vanora. Right? Where we say in Shemona Esrei, great, powerful, awesome God. The prophet Yirmiyahu, upon witnessing the Beit HaMikdash overrun by outsiders, omitted the words Nora, awesome, from his prayer. So he used to pray without the word Nora. Yeah, because he saw, so how could it be? How could Hashem let this happen? You hear? He goes, how could Hashem let this happen? So therefore he's not Nora. So he stopped. Daniel, then came Daniel and he said, behold, strangers are enslaving his children. Where's the display of his power? So therefore he took out Gibor. You hear? Daniel took out Gibor. He says, how could Hashem let his people become slaves? The Jewish people, the one time that the whole world look up to, are now slaves. So he took Gibor. But the men of the great assembly came and said, no. On the contrary, this is his awesome display of strength. For he restrains his will all these years that his people are subjugated, and that he shows a long-suffering countenance to the wicked by not punishing them right there immediately. Meaning, you guys got it all wrong. Hashem sees all the suffering, and he sees all the destruction, and yet he controls himself, and he says, okay, there's a reason why it's happening to my children, and therefore I'm going to relax my anger, I'm going to relax my strength, because I know it's not the right time. I will deal with them. Yeah? Many people think that if someone is slighted by another person and does not fight back, he's a weak person who lacks the strength to defend himself. In truth, however, it is precisely the opposite. He is overcoming his midah for the sake of heaven, which takes incredible strength. As he was saying, 2-3 weeks ago, he was confronted with a guy, and you said you controlled yourself, no? You wanted to give him the usual.
Just now, I was just going to start, and I was just thinking. I was like, do I need this? Hashem, please bless me.
It's serious thing. We sometimes get a little bit too overexcited and over angered, and we want to show but that's called losing self-control. That's called being an animal. You hear? Indeed, there are those people who want to fight back and are merely held back by fear. So some people are held back by fear. I don't want to get arrested. I don't want to, get punched out by the big guy. Yeah, they often feel helpless and taken advantage of. This is not what we are referring to here. He says that's not what kind of gibor we're talking about. Such people should work on building up their confidence and courage, and need to learn how to properly defend themselves, provided that this is done in a permitted way. Our sages teach that what Yehuda ben Tem Omer, Hevi Azken Amer v'Kal Kenesher v'Ratz Katzvi v'Gor Kari Kari La'asor Osonavicha Shebashmayim. Right? We read it every day. Yehuda ben Tem Omer says, "Be bold like a leopard, light as an eagle, swift as a deer, and strong as a lion to do the will of Hashem." To do the will of Hashem. Yeah, our Father in heaven. The Tur opens his classic work with this Mishnah, and he explains the following. Be bold as a leopard means what? That you should not refrain from doing mitzvot because others will ridicule you. You should feel emboldened and not embarrassed. A lot of people I know, they're dentists, they're doctors, they either work without a kippah or they work with some kind of a hat. They won't put a kippah on. Why? It's embarrassing. I don't want them to, I don't know about the Judaism. A lot of people who are in a goyish environment or an environment that's not so religious, and what? They're afraid to say berachot in a loud way or in a way that's very pronounced. They're afraid to, show that their Jewishness by doing, let's say mincha or something like that. Yeah? He says, don't be afraid. You have to be bold like a leopard.
Are you supposed to, let's say you're going out with non-Jews.
Yeah.
You're going to dinner with them.
Yeah.
Are you supposed to make brachot to the table?
Well, are you in a kosher restaurant, first of all?
Yeah, kosher.
So if you're in a kosher restaurant, it's in a business meeting, and it's not you must to show who you are. You understand? That's nothing to do with them. You have to do what you have to do. You,
respect
you should see sometimes I walk down Canal Street and I see Muslims, they don't give a damn about anything. I always wonder why they have the water bottles. You know what they have the water bottles for? To wash their hands and their feet. I saw one guy washing his feet. I didn't understand. I thought, well, maybe he's dirty. I saw another guy block away washing feet. I was like, what the hell? Why is everybody washing their feet? Because it was mincha time. It was their mincha time. You hear? They put the carpet, Allahu Akbar. They don't care. You hear? They don't care. And today, interesting enough, I went to mikvah. Mincha for the first time because my son was going to go to 42nd Street, do mincha there. We have a mincha 7 minutes away from us. So I went to mincha. When I was coming back, I saw one of these Arabs who has one of these stands. He took a thing, covered on himself, and he was there doing whatever he was doing. You hear? They don't care. They don't care. And over here, he says, be bold as a leopard. Why? Not that you want to tear up somebody. No. In order to do the mitzvot, that you should not be afraid to do the mitzvot. Light as an eagle means what? It means to close your eyes to avoid seeing something improper. For once the eye sees, the heart begins to desire. And then the body acts on the desire. You hear? One of the worst parts of our body is the eyes. Because if we cannot control the eyes, that's it. Everything is with the eye. You should know, if you don't see delicious cake, you're not going to eat it. Right? You're not going to eat it. Because you don't see it. You hear? When I go somewhere to a restaurant or like a wedding or something, before I go, I say to myself, I'm not going to eat, I'm not going to eat. You come there like a pig. You can't control yourself. You know, you're like, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then you come out bloated like you don't know what. Yeah? Same thing with women, right? If you don't see a beautiful woman, guess what? Your heart is not going to desire, but because you don't see it. But when you see it, guess what? Nothing is going to stop you. That heart starts beating and you're like, wow, unbelievable. You know, and you continue to, so he says you have to be, light as an eagle to do what? To be careful to what you look at. This whole Instagram, Facebook, shtuyot, all of this was done, you know, for what? Only to get the Jew down. You should know. I don't know if you guys have been like aware. 17, 18, let's say 20 million Jews in the world. Right? 20 million Jews. 8 billion people, 20 million Jews in the world, 0.002% of the whole world, and yet everybody talks about the Jew. I mean, did you ever wonder why? What's the deal? You know, Trump, I put one because they love the Jews. You got 340 million Americans to worry about. What are you worried about? One guy, you know, now who's going to be the international whatever, that he loves the Jews, and the lady who's going to be representing where all the countries are, you know, United Nations, that she's for the Jews, and he's for the Jews, and he's for the 17 million Jews in the world. We talk 8 billion. What's the deal? You know what's the deal? Because Hashem wants to show us that everything revolves in this world only for the Jew. Yeah, it has to be. Because the election, our vote, 0. What the heck? If all of us vote for Trump, and just a quarter of the United States votes for Kamala, we're done.
They're worried. They were saying it was going to make a difference.
Yeah, I still don't understand what difference it is. But you know what the difference is? Because it's all about the Jew. Inadvertently, they know that as long as the Jew is protected, Hashem is going to watch us. You know, they show the picture that our mayor is in Lubavitch Rebbe. What are you doing there? I mean, seriously, what are you doing there? I know, even Trump. You know what they said? He said the biggest mistake Kamala made is because she didn't go to the Ohel. What? Are you serious? I mean, the news.
Saying what?
That she didn't go to Ohel, that's why she lost. He went, and she didn't. You know? It's to show us what? I don't think we're happy. Germany, you know, this is where they started beating up the Jews. Everything, Jew, we got to protect the Jew. This is again the Jew. Such a small nation, and the whole world is talking about the Jews.
I don't understand.
You don't understand?
No, I want to say something. So, Germany, they killed 6 million Jews.
Yes.
Okay. What if our population really runs the world? Why is there so little of us? If Jews are what makes the world go around, they say.
It's to show the Hashem wants to show you all the more so. If we were 200 million, 100 million, it's not to talk about. Of course you're going to worry about the Jew. Hashem says, listen, I'm going to make you small amount, 17, 20 million. What's 20 million? Yo, there's other nations that are Chinese. If anything, you know what you say? Chinese, come out, vote for Trump. Yo, there's millions and millions of Chinese in the United States. Because there's 1.5 billion of them in the world. Half the world, well, not half, but I'm saying 20% of the world is Chinese. Say, talk about Chinese. Not one mention of Chinese, not one mention of Spanish, not one mention of black. Indian, not one mention. Did anybody hear Indian? And it's not like our newscasters are saying it. The president himself is saying it.
There's more Indians in America.
The president himself was saying, we want any Jew that does not vote for me. What? Are you serious? What is that? You know what it is? It's a knock Hashem wants to show us, my friend. This whole world is run just for us. You understand? Just for us.
This is the number one country in the world.
The whole world is talking about it. And therefore, to show us that all this Instagram, they were all made in order to what? To put the Jew down. In order for him to sin. That's all it was made for. Because the Goyim, they don't have the mitzvah. They can do whatever they want. But the 1 or the 2 or the 15 or the 1,000 or the 10,000 Jews that are stuck on this stupid thing and do not get rid of it from their phone are falling and losing the battle and are getting trapped into the Yetzer Hara. That's why he's saying you have to be strong, because the only person that is strong is the one who can control himself. If a person cannot control his desires, if a person cannot control his anger, if a person cannot control himself, then he's not strong. He looks strong, he's big and he's muscular and he can push people around and he could steal and he could do whatever, but he's not strong. Yeah, strong as a lion. The Tur transposes the order of the third and fourth, because really the lion is the last one. Yeah, but he put the lion here. Why? It means that you should strengthen your heart in Hashem's service. For the strength in Avodat Hashem lies in the heart. And swift as the deer means your feet should run to good, meaning to do good. One thing we're basically misunderstanding in this world is that we are for sure, definitely in a world that's not going to last more than 100 years. We personally, each individual. Yeah, the world is going to last for centuries, right? But we individually are here for 100, but not really. Most of us 70, 80 years, 90 years. Yeah? Bezat Hashem, huh?
These days is 35.
Yeah. But let's say 70, 80 years. Guess what? This whole world is a joke, and it was done for us to come here and say, who's going to really believe in Hashem and is going to want to come and live eternity? We spoke about eternity many times here. Yeah? This fake world where they're going to entice you with this watch and this lady and this car and this money and this house and these clothes and everything. Everything is on something that we know for sure we're not going to take with us. Yeah? We're not going to take with us. And we know that spiritually is what really counts. So we say, nah, leave the spiritual side alone. Let me just enjoy this physicality. I'll get to the spiritual. One day I'll get to the spiritual. And what happens is when it's too late, a person realizes it. You hear? But we see it factually that to be able to cling to Hashem, he says, be strong as a lion in order to strengthen your heart, only to do one thing, to do the will of Hashem. It's a major thing. Meaning, to get up in the morning and go to shul and put on tefillin is such a simple thing, yet it's so hard. Hashem says, that's all I want you to do. After that, do whatever you want to do. Meaning, go to work, whatever. But just get up for me and just put these boxes on your head and just pray to me, because after 80 years, guess what? You're going to be living in my spiritual world. And if you're not going to attain a position in my spiritual world, then guess what? You're going to be excised, and then you're going to be X'd out for eternity. You hear? And that's why we... Huh?
I want to ask a question.
Yeah.
Let's say like a person studies, learns, this, that,
Yeah.
Until he's like 80 years old, but
Yeah.
he never found it interesting, but he did it for the will of Hashem.
Beautiful.
But then he goes to Olam Haba. I heard that person's still not going to feel connected.
Nabarot. If that person did it, and he hated it, and he did it because Hashem told him to do it, that person gets more reward. You know why? Because if I love it and I do it, I'm loving it. So what? I love
You're
it.
supposed to enjoy it, no?
You for your effort.
You are supposed to enjoy it, but I'm saying the person who's doing it and it's hard for him. Yeah? Meaning a person like somebody that's already used to getting up at 5 a.m. What's the challenge? Even with alarm, that thing, 5 a.m. He already trained himself to be what's called Pavlov's dog. There was a Pavlov scientist. He says you can train a dog to do whatever. And you know what? He's right. And he didn't mean only a dog. He meant even a human being. You could train a human being like a ding and give him food. Ding and give him food. Ding, do that 1,000 times. And what happens is your digestive thing starts acting because, it's food. He goes, then go, ding, don't give him food. He's going to start salivating. Why? It's called Pavlov's dogs. He already programmed himself to do. You can program yourself to do anything. The people in the Navy SEALs, they program themselves to be in ice water for a certain period of time. They program themselves in order to breathe for minutes, meaning not breathe, in the water. They program themselves. And we can program ourselves as well. But we have to be strong in order to do that. So he's using all these animals in order what? To strengthen yourself, not to beat somebody up, not to make $1 million, but in order to serve Hashem. And therefore we are going to be tested from our parents and from our children and from our work and from the money. We're going to be tested all the time in order to what? To see, are you going to be doing what Hashem wants you to do? Meaning, are you going to be able to withstand the test? That's the real strong person. He says, we will elaborate on each concept little by little. So he says, people have various fears that serve as a deterrent to their service of Hashem. Let us first address the fear of embarrassment. Yeah? He says, many people, they have fears of something in order to serve Hashem. Yeah? Like people, you imagine you're going to go to a shul, look at that Herb, Johnny. Herb went to shul. And in order for you not to be embarrassed, you're not going to do it. He says, to preface, we must emphasize that bashfulness, meaning to be shy, is generally considered a positive quality and is actually a fundamental element of Avodat Hashem. He says to be shy is very good. In fact, the Gemara teaches in Yamavot that the 3 identified characteristics of a Jewish person is compassion, to be a shyful person, and to be kind.
You can't have your nose in the air, basically.
Absolutely not. Yeah, you can't walk like this. You know, those night to takoi. Yeah, he says that so that the awe of Hashem will be on his face, so that you will not sin. Why you're not allowed to walk like this? Because when you're walking like this, you know what you're saying? There's nobody better than me. Who's Hashem over here? I don't understand. You understand? Meaning Hashem doesn't exist, and therefore, if Hashem doesn't exist, then you'll do whatever you want to do. But if a person is shy and he's a little bit, kind and everything, now he knows that there's a higher being, and then if I have to do what I have to do. Based on this, the sages taught it is a good sign for a person that he is bashful, meaning that he's shy. Others say anyone who is bashful does not readily sin. And if someone does not have the attribute of shamefulness, it is known that his ancestors did not stand at Mount Sinai. He says that when a person doesn't have shame, and there are people like that, he says he doesn't belong to the Jewish nation. His ancestors didn't stand on Mount Sinai. Moreover, Yehuda ben Tema says, he advises, be bold as a leopard. Qualified this directive by denouncing the trait of brazenness. He says, don't be brazen. Why? Because it says, as panim legeinam, uvoshet panim legan Eden. Meaning, huh? Shame? Okay, shame is, imagine right now, naked we put you in Times Square. How are you going to feel? You going to be embarrassed? That's called shame. And so there's people, I couldn't give them less.
That's probably a mental illness.
No, it's not a mental illness. What do you mean? When you're not shameful? When you're not shameful? No. So this was like the most drastic of example. But imagine any little example. You hear? Shame is everybody's doing one thing and you're doing a completely different thing. And you don't give a damn about it. I don't care what everybody says. You hear? That's
shame in a good way and a bad way, though, no?
No.
Yeah,
he says you need to have shame. You need to feel that meaning you have to be shy. You have to be.
Let's say everyone's sinning and Johnny isn't. He's shameful in a good way.
No, what do you mean? But there's no such thing, nabarot. It's everyone is doing the right thing and Johnny's doing the wrong thing. You hear? Meaning not this particular John. Johnny has so that's what he's talking about. You hear? So therefore he says this kind of thing is no, because he says that a brazen person will go to Gehinnom, and a bashful person, a shy person will go Gan Eden. This teaches us that the trait of boldness is generally considered a negative thing and should be avoided except when necessary for the service of Hashem. He says when it's for the service of Hashem, be bold. Take your tefillin, go in the morning, even though your friends are going to be like, Herb, wow, look at him. You understand? He says that's strength.
Just go back on the shame one more time. Let's say you don't I don't like waiting in line.
Yeah.
Right? I don't like waiting in line, but everyone waits in line and I don't wait in line.
You cut.
Is that not having shame?
I mean, it depends.
Or you're driving your car and you know on Drew Avenue, going to Forest Hills, there's always a huge line in the morning.
Yeah, and you just
and
cut.
you take the left lane and then
So,
you cut into
so
the right.
let me tell you something. Let me
I
tell
don't
you.
usually do it.
Most of the people don't know that it's you. Most of the people. And guess what? If they knew that it's you, you would never do that. You would never do that. So you have shame. It's just that under the protection of the car, they don't really know who you are.
Bagel store, where some people do know who I am, they don't know who I am.
Yeah.
I just know one of the workers and he makes my order right away.
Okay, so that's not drastically shameful. You understand? We're talking about a lot of people do what you're saying. A lot of people do what you're saying, and you know what? They're doing it because it's a covert thing. But like we're talking like out in the open,
You come to shul, everybody's dressed Saturday in a suit.
right?
You come with your seat and your socks.
Yeah. Now that's a
You
shameful. Would you do that?
You would be embarrassed.
You come in with shorts
No,
on
you would
Shabbat.
come in more, Sam would come more with the rainbow socks. You know?
No. Rainbow socks is already like it's a little bit more accepted. But imagine Friday night, everybody's with a suit, and you come with your shorts and your tank top. That's me. You don't like it. That's me. Would you do that? Would you do that? You wouldn't do that. So therefore, you have shame. You wouldn't put yourself to that kind of ridicule. You understand? But there are people who would. And he's saying these people don't really belong, to the nation of.
People that I know that have mental issues.
Oh, so mental issues we're not talking about.
That's what I'm saying.
We're not talking about mental issues. We're talking about normal people that think normally, have normal jobs, have normal wives, but they don't care. You hear? So we're almost gonna done. What does it mean to be bold in the service of Hashem? A person who's afraid or ashamed cannot fulfill mitzvot properly, since he's locked into the prison of his fear and embarrassment. And we have a lot of people like that. Yeah? Meaning they're embarrassed. What are people gonna say? What are my friends gonna say? That I'm gonna do this, religious thing, No, seriously. One of them is laughing in the back. One example of a situation is in which a person would be expected to be bold in the service of Hashem is found in the Gemara in Barachot that states that someone who discovers shatnez, you found a mixture of wool and linen in his clothing, must remove his garment even if he's standing in the middle of the marketplace. Huh?
Well, is that really like a big thing?
It's a big thing.
Why?
It's just like eating pig. It's just like eating pig. Unfortunately,
I
yeah.
only wear
Every
pot.
second.
Huh? Huh?
Seconds.
Every second. You hear? Says in keeping with the verse in Mishlei, en chokhmah ve'en tevuna ve'en etza leneged Hashem. Says there's no value to wisdom or understanding or counsel when weighing against the honor of Hashem. Meaning, he's saying exactly what you said. Come on, wool and linen. What kind of shtuot is that? Seriously, I'm like, come on. What's the big deal? Same thing. You know what? You have a poncho, four-corner garment. You put it on. That's a sin, major sin against the Torah. It's not a rabbinic sin. One of those wool ponchos that they sell, the Mexicans sell. It's 100% against the Torah.
You can wear it for a second.
Again, if it's not yours and you want to try it on, you could wear it. He's talking. Huh?
What about the raincoat?
What if you're wearing tzitzit already?
Raincoat is good. No, it doesn't matter. That one has to have.
How's raincoat good?
Raincoat is good.
Wow.
Because it's plastic.
Any four-corner garment has to
Any four garment. You have 50 tzitziot on yourself, and now you're putting the coat, which is the poncho, wool that to keep warm.
I used to know.
You
Makai.
take it to the Shatnez people. You take it to the Shatnez people. They charge you.
Business.
They charge you $10-15. So
Some people
remember,
don't charge.
you weren't here last time. We said anytime a person suffers through spending money on shatnez, things that are VHQ, this and that. Guess what? It's a little bit of suffering that will take away from all kinds of sicknesses and all kinds of isurim and all kinds of these things that.
How about spending a little bit extra?
100%. First of all, that money is going to come back to you. You should know. Hashem guarantees in the Gemara. Anything you spend for Shabbat, Rosh Chodesh, tuition, anything you spend, that's
Human tuition too?
yes, that's besides what I'm going to give you on Rosh Hashanah.
I've seen it with my own eyes.
My friend, I'm here. I'm telling you, I pay full tuition. During COVID, I asked them to give me a discount. I did. Why? Because it was like a little bit, crazy, and you know what? They got a lot of money, and they also knew, so they waived it. But I'm saying, for years, about 15 years, I've been paying full tuition. And guess what? Baruch Hashem, everything is fine. It's not like I'm making crazy money. But you know what? Hashem says, I got to give it back to you, and He's got to give it back. We don't have the emunah in Hashem to be able to understand that He's going to give it to us. Let me tell you something. Joe Schmo comes in, you give him tzedakah, 100% Hashem has to give you that money back. 100%. Why? Because He needs us to give these poor people money. But even then, we're still stingy. Knowing this, we give $1 or $5. Yeah, He'll give it to you. He'll give it to you. Listen, we've seen it. He's seen it. I've seen it.
Yeah, but it depends who.
Yeah.
This is like off topic.
Yeah.
Like right now I'm learning with you, right? Like
Yeah.
I didn't see the bracha on the Torah. Like,
Wow. I'm sinning now that I'm going to start teaching you.
Are you serious?
And you're sinning because you didn't say the bracha.
Whoa.
Say the bracha now.
So there's no point of me learning, you're telling me.
No, there is, but you're sinning while you
Now
learn.
you learn something. If you say the broccoli, you
But I've been knowing this.
Yeah. So look what Hashem says. Look what Hashem says. My son Jonathan, he thinks he's God over me. Why? Because all I ask him is to stay, not even a 2-minute thing. It's Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech
Okay, you're
haolam.
right, no problem. So what about all this J-Wave, Shame, where they take all these kids from public school?
Yes.
And they only teach them. Not one kid says.
So you're right. But you know what?
But are they all sinning?
No. You know what they're hoping? First of all, this is a rabbinic thing, where you have to say the bracha. As far as God is concerned, you're doing okay, you're doing good. The rabbi said, we have to be thankful to Hashem. At the end of the day, right now, somebody drank this ginger ale, which I really want, my mouth is dry, right? But he's saying, why should I drink this for no reason? He says, why don't we say thank you to Hashem? Because at the end of the day, Hashem allowed us to be able to buy that. Hashem allowed you to hold that water. Yes, you know why? Because there's people right now, we know, Superman being one of them, fell off his horse, became a quadriplegic.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He cannot put himself water in the mouth. He cannot. Somebody has to do for him. And recently, another guy, same way, fell recently. I forgot already he was in the news. Same quadriplegic as this Superman guy. And he's in the same hospital. You read that, right? Same hospital. He can't even do this. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol niyeh b'doro.
And this is rich, strong people.
Yes. Rich, strong people who are unable to do that. So why not take the insurance policy and say, she'akol niyeh b'doro, asher yatzar, birkat hamazon. No. Hashem says, I brought you here to this world to do a certain tikkun. He brought you here because He knows you can do it. And He's giving you this opportunity. And He's waiting patiently. We just said right now, I don't know if you came into this, we said that one of the people took out Ha'el, Hagadol, Hagibor Vanora. He took out Hagibor. He says, how could Hashem be Gibor? Gibor means strong. His people are slaves. And the other one took Hanora. Praiseworthy. He took that out. How could it? The whole Beit HaMikdash is destroyed out.
They didn't do it. They saw the situation on the street.
Yeah.
How people were suffering. He took that out from his
Yeah, He took it out from the
They're
prayers.
still religious praying, but he took that word out.
You know why? Because it cannot be Hashem is splendorful when He let His Beit HaMikdash be destroyed. So one of the commentators, no, Nabarod. Hashem knows all these things. And He's just calm and relaxed. He says, why should I punish my son Johnny? No. He's a good boy. He's going to come. Bezat Hashem, one day He's going to have payot. He's going to bring thousands of people back to the Torah. Why? Because he says, guys, I've been there. Most of the big guys in Israel, most of the big rabbis who have thousands of people who they do in Tshuva, they've been in your position worse.
Even worse.
You understand?
Rabbi Resh Lakish.
Yeah, he was Vapshe, but that's 2,000 years ago.
Still.
This rabbi, the one that's Amnon Yitzchak, he was not a religious guy. He was not a religious guy.
He brought over 1 million.
The one who just passed away recently, the one who was a movie star in Israel, he used to hate religion. He became big time rabbi, brought a lot of people back, and you are the biggest candidate for that. Why? Because you have the biggest MO for one of these guys.
Because people follow you.
But it's one of those things that you gotta trick. When you find that trick, you're gonna be like, wow, what the
I
heck?
want to be like
No,
that.
right here. Right
You
here.
don't wanna be. It's not your choice. You don't wanna be. It's not your choice. I don't wanna be many things. But you know what? Hashem says, my friend, that's not your choice. I know, I don't wanna do laundry. Hashem says, you have to do it. I don't wanna wash dishes. You gotta do it. I don't wanna be like it. He says,
You
yeah.
can't tell me how come without being a rabbi.
Yeah, you could. And again, rabbi, we're losing it. He calls me a rabbi. I'm a rabbi. I just let it go already because I told him, listen, my friend, stop it already. And he keeps
I also
doing
call you rabbi.
it. You understand? But I'm just saying, it's,
It's not right. It's so not right.
but one thing, we're wrapping it up. One thing we have to come out of here is one thing. A person who's strong is a person who can control his emotions, is a person who can control his laxiness where he's like, I don't know, I don't want to get up, I can't. Don't be a woman. Don't be a, I don't want to use the word here, but yes, don't be that. You know why? Because that's showing your biggest weakness. And imagine, everybody knows it. Because everybody knows the truth. But they just don't internalize it. They know that the guy who's up 5 o'clock in the morning and doing what he has to do for Hashem, they know he's right. But they know that if they say he's right, then they're saying that they're wrong. So therefore they're gonna, nah, he doesn't know what he's doing. I can kaif, I can sleep till 10 o'clock at night in the morning, whatever, and life is whatever. No. Anybody will tell you that the person who gets up regularly every morning, especially early in the morning, he's a real man. He's a man that really took his life in his hands and he's maneuvering his life. He's not letting the Yetzer Hara maneuver him. Right now what we're doing is we're letting him sweep us on the floor this way, that way, turn
Yeah, but a
left,
person can just
turn
crash.
right. Huh?
A person can just crash.
No way. Never.
What
Never.
do you mean?
Never, my friend. Never. You should know. Once you battle yourself and you understand that I got myself, you'll never be able to fall. And
So
you
you're right
and,
now on the way to be a man and father.
and you will live.
How can you crash? You have kids. How can you crash?
Yeah.
There's no time for crash. There's no effort for crash.
Exactly.
Unless you're gonna be some weird guy depressed who just
Exactly. Here's an example for you right here in front of you.
Everybody around you also gonna see that they're gonna hear you, what you can't even be a father to your kids.
Yeah.
And a little bit trouble in your house, you're gonna not see that, you're gonna be normal.
Yep. Yep.
That's why I teach my son.
Baruch Adonai Olam, amen, amen.